Hello and welcome everybody. Today's video is going to be about mentoring. And mentoring is extremely important. It is the shortcut that you can take to learn new stuff because human brain makes calculations quickly. When you want to go out and search Google, sure, you can do that. But Google will only give you answers which somebody else has already calculated. And if nobody else has asked the question, or if nobody else has calculated the answer before, you will not get the answer from Google. It's that simple. Like you can go out on Google, but you will not find everything on Google. So that's why mentoring is important. And when you ask somebody to mentor you, when you join a group where you can be mentored, when you approach a particular person and ask them to mentor you, you're taking a shortcut. And you're placing yourself at an advantage from everybody else around you. Everybody else is going to go out and search Google and they'll never find any answers there. Well, they find some answers, but they still have to read the answers. They still have to sift through a lot of content. They still have to interpret the answers. Whereas you, when you approach a mentor, you basically just get the answer like right away. So a shortcut. Massive shortcut. So where can you find your mentors? I listed 8 sources here. There's probably more. Number 1 is books, because people have written books pretty much about everything. And books are concentrated knowledge. So somebody has been sitting, thinking, organizing everything, putting it into a book. And then they sold the book, and you can buy the book and you can upload that knowledge into your brain. It's kind of like software. Books are like apps. And probably in the future, we're actually going to have apps for the brain where we could just upload a book into the brain, or where we could just share knowledge with everybody else by downloading it from our brain, placing it in a store somewhere, having somebody else buy that knowledge and just upload it into their brain. So that's going to be really cool. But books is one, and because the reason books are effective is because people really sit down and it takes time to write a book, and it really is something where somebody just has to organize everything into a system. And you get that system for a fraction of the price of what it took to actually organize that. So very good source. But talking one-on-one is even better, because you can ask a question. So basically you have to be good at asking questions so you can get the answers. You have to be creative in coming up with questions to ask. And if you are creative and you ask the right questions, you get the right answers, which can create instant transformation. And that's the power of one-on-one. The power of being able to ask a question and get direct feedback from somebody else's brain that is making calculations instantly. And number 3 is joining groups where people can discuss different ideas. And I'm talking about groups where people discuss ideas where people are creating ideas, where people are thinking, how can we organize this knowledge into something more powerful, more distilled, more potent, more strong. Those kinds of groups, they're really, really powerful. And they can be even more powerful than just one-on-one, because now you can have direct calculation from many different people that all can do the same calculation and contribute something new to the final answer. So where can you find those groups? You can find them if you ask the people that you want to learn from, if they have a group where you can join them. And they can be on different subjects. It can be business, it can be life, it can be relationships, it can be electronics, it can be programming, it can be anything. Anything where people have the same interest. And I don't mean forums. Internet forums is kind of like when people just are too afraid maybe to talk to each other one-on-one. So they resort to textual communication where they don't have to, but where they want to basically avoid having the one-on-one, right? So they write it down, they post it, and then they hide behind a curtain or something. And then they come back and they read the replies that people have written. So forms is not really the same thing, and it is better than nothing at all, but it's way worse than direct group communication, where you have a direct contact, right? Number 5 is observing somebody. Is basically looking at how somebody else is making decisions. What do they do, and how do they respond to different situations, and learning from that. So that's a form of mentoring, actually. It is through observation, so it goes through your lens. It is going through your interpretation of what that person is doing. So this can be deceiving, because it doesn't necessarily mean that you have the right interpretation. You will be interpreting, but you'll be interpreting using your own concepts. So nothing new is added. Compared to other steps 1 or alternatives 1, 2, 3, and 4, number 5 doesn't add any new information. Number 5 is using your information that you already have to interpret the situation. And you can learn from that too. But it's kind of like taking the bits and pieces and organizing them into a picture, but you don't have access to any new bits and pieces. So if something's missing there, you're not going to get it unless you either read a book, or you join a group, or you talk to a person one-on-one. Number 7, spectating, is doing it at a distance. Or number 6, I missed number 6. Number 6 is listening to podcasts, listening to interviews on YouTube, listening to somebody tell their lessons, what they have learned, what they have done. Number 7 is spectating. And it's different from observing somebody, because number 5 would be observing at a close distance. Maybe you're working with person, maybe your colleagues, maybe you're somewhere in the closer vicinity. But number 7 is spectating at a distance, looking how somebody is going about their day and doing things. And number 8 is imagination. And this is a very powerful one, because it can create new concepts as well. It can take concepts from everything that you've ever learned, everything that you've ever experienced, and combine them into an image. And this is something that athletes do when they imagine themselves going through the training, imagine themselves going through the motion of competition. And they do that over and over and over again. And they learn from that. They learn through repetition, but it's not done in a real setting. It's done in as real as it gets. By the way, your brain doesn't even know if it's real or not, because if the image is accurate enough, it doesn't really matter. That's why when you read a book, you can live yourself into the story. Like, you can place yourself into the story, and you're actually experiencing the story of the book. So that's 8 alternatives to finding mentorship. And imagination would be mentoring yourself. It's the way you think, the way you interpret everything that you know. You'll be mentoring yourself. So all of these are important. The first half gives you new knowledge, direct input from other people, and the second half gives you tools to organize that knowledge. And everybody learns better by sharing their knowledge. You learn, in fact, if you just write down what you're hearing, if you just take notes and you just write it down, you learn twice as much. Your retention rate is twice as good if you write things down. But then if you teach it to somebody else and you actually express it, you put it out there, you make it tangible, right? So you're not just writing it down, you're actually expressing it and actually having somebody else duplicate it. You're not just duplicating it yourself, you're getting somebody else to duplicate it. And then you learn 4 times as well when you have somebody else duplicate what you are teaching them. And then when they get results, when they are able to use it, when you see that they have duplicated it and they express it back to you, then your rate of learning goes up to 10 times. 10 times what it would be if you were just listening. And it's because you can see the results happening, and it gives you confidence that the results, that what you're teaching, that you don't just understand what you're teaching, but that what you're teaching is actually correct and what you understand is actually correct. So your own learning goes up to 10 times what it would be otherwise. So that's good to know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.